All right, here we go. If we're going to go into the future, we better do it with style, baby. Yeah. Oh, self-tied shoes. Let's go, boy. All right. Yeah, boy. We in 2021 now. How's it going, time travelers? Welcome to the next video on Sterling on Cinemas. That's cinemas with an S. Welcome to 2021. We are in the future, baby, from 1955 to 2021. Today, I'll be giving you my review on Back to the Future Part 2. Before I begin, if you are new to this video, if you are a rookie, if you are a newbie, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment on the section below so you can time travel with us in this Way Back Wednesday series. And most importantly, watch so you can see the light. And also, if you're watching this on Instagram, same goes to you. Like, share it on your story with your family and your friends, because I just hit 95 a couple seconds ago, so we are almost there. Like I said in my last video, please help me out. I am almost at the brink. Now is the time to hustle. Let's get to it. Now, in this zany sequel, the time-traveling duo Marty McFly and Dr. Emmett Brown, aka Rick and Morty, return from saving Marty's future son from disaster, only to discover their own timeline is being transformed. In this nightmarish, more dystopian version of Hill Valley, Marty's father has been murdered and Biff Tannen, Marty's nemesis, has profited a lot of cash. After uncovering the secret to Biff's success, which is a sports almanac that predicts every sporting event for the rest of the century from 1950 to 2000, Marty and Doc embark on a quest to repair the space-time continuum and to set this regular timeline back in motion forever. Now, originally in an interview, Robert Zemeckis said that a sequel was never intended for Back to the Future, despite the ending to the last one, leading to teasing a futuristic adventure. It was just a gag, to be honest, but let's be glad that this sequel happened. Back to the Future Part 2 goes to show that time travel is not as simple nor safe to time travel from one point in time to another with the help of a cryogenic time machine like the DeLorean or a refrigerator or a hot tub. While the first one shows us the sensation of the science behind time traveling, Back to the Future Part 2 helps the audience to understand much better by going deeper into the concept to the point where it becomes thought-provoking by literally having certain changes in time, creating a rippling butterfly effect in that same timeline. However, we all know that there's a better explanation about time travel that was retconned in Avengers Endgame, but this movie is about the repercussions that lead to a time paradox. This is something that helps the story out because it adds more weight to the science behind time travel and will have people second guessing those fantastical imaginations of going to their favorite time periods, whether it be back or forward. But even in the midst of all the chaos and the bombarding effects that these changes have on the main timeline, it is just fun to look at a few what-if scenarios and old predictions on what 2015 will look like. And to be honest, I can only say that they're only probably 23% accurate when it comes to the predictions they made back in 1989 when the movie came out that were true by the time the real 2015 came versus what we saw in this movie. The characters. Back to the Future Part 2 sees Marty McFly going through some drastic events. Just that he had just returned Back to the Future in 1985, but now must go along with Doc to 2015. We all had a feeling that Back to the Future would be kind of a direct reflection of the first one, since the problem at first hand is Marty's future son, Martin McFly, who was kind of looking similar to this. But the story went from making Martin McFly the goal to focusing on the sports almanac. Because unfortunately, the event said that Martin McFly was in trouble, that he was in the middle of some type of danger. They had to save him. But now it went from that to focusing on this book that predicts all the wins in sporting entertainment in the future from 1950 to 2000, which was crucial to creating an alternate 1985, and that was cool to see. But this plot twist all started with old man Biff traveling back to 1955 and showing his past self on how to win money for life and become rich in the midst of all these sporting bets, like betting millions of dollars on different wins throughout sporting entertainment. Baseball, basketball, football, derby, hockey, golf, you name it. The film makes it seem like this all happened in the same timeline, but Doc Brown clearly stated that when you go back in time and change something in the past, it creates a separate branch. It creates separate parallel timeline, alternate timeline to the main timeline. And this is the logic that Avengers Endgame stuck with, which is why their concept feels more realistic and works. Endgame was a movie that referenced the Back to the Future franchise, but this one in particular, because there are a lot of time travel movie tropes that this movie that started in Back to the Future 2, such as encountering an alternate version of yourself or sneaking around your same alternate self. And this is what happened. This is what helped the audience love this movie more, love the first one more, by giving us different angles and perspectives on the same scenes. It also helps certain characters become more important than before, like Biff being the centerpiece to this alternate reality. Really, the only other characters who we see the drastic changes in are the death of George McFly and Lorraine being married to Biff. But the cliffhanger ending, though unlike the first one, was enough to force its way into the next unprecedented adventure that was not an option. It had to happen, because if he came back from the future, then something had to happen. And plus they mentioned 70 years in the past, 70 years ago, 70 years from 1955. Like before 1955 would be 1885, which is during the Western times, and that is where we'll see them in the next one, baby. Rotten Tomatoes gives Back to the Future 2 a 66% score. Not as well, but still fresh. Now, for the sake of nostalgia and new ideas, Back to the Future Part 2 simply gives the audience a greater and broader eye that was the first one. It incorporates a deeper explanation, fitting imagination and predictions, in a much deeper context than before. I will give it 8.9 SOs out of 10, because it simply sticks in the shadow of the first one. Although it has its own style and its own ideas and its own context, it is simply a shadow of the first one. But that is my review on Back to the Future Part 2, unarguably everybody's favorite Back to the Future movie. If it's not your favorite, you can feel free to say it in the comments, but I'll see you guys on Friday with my review on the next entry in the Fast and Furious franchise. Night.